This is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about post-campaign communication. These are a few tips and recommendations that I learned from my 7 Kickstarter campaigns involving tabletop games. One big thing I found is related to the project updates. I highly recommend that you continue posting project updates on a regular basis after the campaign ends. What this does is it solidifies that trust that backers put in you that you are actually making the thing that they paid you to make. Part of this means that you might have some good news to share at times. You might have some neutral news, just letting people know what's happening. And you might have bad news. The key that I found is that good news and bad news and neutral news, they're all better than no news at all. If backers go a long time without seeing any update from you, they're going to wonder if anything is happening at all. So even if something bad is happening, I highly recommend sharing it with the backers, telling them what's happening, what you're doing about it, and that anything is happening at all, and that will reassure them. Also, as part of those project updates and on the project page, I recommend that you remain active in the comments. I think that really helps show backers that you are still there, you're still doing things. And that's kind of the overarching idea of this entire video. Show backers that you are still there and that you are still moving forward with the project. This ties into the second point, social media and e-newsletters. These are great ways that you can continue to show that you exist and you are doing things with the project and that you haven't disappeared. It might be odd to you to think this, but a lot of backers assume that if the creator isn't responding, that they have disappeared with their money, which is a reasonable thing to think, especially if they've spent a lot of money on this project. Also, the nice thing about social media after the project and you being involved in it is that it shows people that you are continuing to build the community after you have their money. This can be reassuring to backers. Last, a little technique that I used on some of my later projects was I added a progress bar to my main project image, which you can update after the project ends, and I added this progress bar to my project updates as well. What this did is it showed backers at a quick glance what the status of the project was. So it might say, okay, the project is currently being printed, or maybe the miniatures are being made, or maybe it's being assembled, or it's shipped. There are all these different stages that your project goes through. And what this does is it shows them at a quick glance how the project is doing. It makes it easy for backers to see that the project is actually moving forward and they can see the current status of it. Without digging through all the project updates, without tracking you down on social media, without even messaging you, it saves you a lot of time and effort, and because it is right there up front on the project page for backers to see. So I highly recommend doing this. You can see some different techniques. I use it on our e-newsletter now on Stonemaier Games. Fantasy Flight uses it. Brandon Sanderson, the fantasy author, uses it on his website. He has a great status bar. It takes something that backers don't usually have, that information that backers don't usually have, and it makes it easily accessible and makes them, kind of reassures them that stuff is happening. Those are my 3 main tips. If you have any thoughts or questions about post-campaign communication, feel free to comment below or comment over on my Kickstarter Lessons blog. Thanks.